Hello, my dear curious and studious students of surgery. Myself, Dr. Mahesh Chaudhary. I am warm welcoming you in my surgery lecture series. This surgery lecture series contains entire surgery with anesthesia, with radiology, with orthopedic. So stay tuned with us. Let's start our surgery lecture series. Welcome, my dear students, in my surgery lecture number 110, that is the tongue. In this lecture, we will explore the leukoplakia, ulcers of the tongue, neoplasms of the tongue, and carcinoma of the tongue and its treatment. All these points are covered in this lecture. First, the leukoplakia. The essential process in leukoplakia is a progressive hyperkeratosis. There is a proliferation and heaping up of the cornified epithelium with the formation of milk white patches. This condition may occur anywhere in the mouth, but most commonly seen on the tongue. In this case, the tongue looks as if it has been smeared with white paint. The condition in the tongue is called chronic superficial glossitis. Leukoplakia are now more often involving the lip and occasionally the cheek, gum and palate. Leukoplakia may be seen in the other places such as the larynx, glans penis, vulva and the perianal region. Here we are discussing the leukoplakia on the tongue or chronic superficial glossitis. Dear students, here is a good picture on your screen of the leukoplakia of the tongue, clearly seen the whitish patch at the lower side of the tongue. Now the etiology. The 6 well-known etiological factors of the chronic superficial glossitis are 6SR. These are smoking, sharp tooth, sepsis, syphilis, spirit and spices. These are the 6S classically known as the etiology of the leukoplakia of the tongue. Now the pathology. The condition is confined to the anterior 2/3 of the tongue. It is usually starts at the edge and gradually spreads on to the dorsum. The surface may become fissured and cracked due to the contraction of the underlying scar tissue caused by the chronic inflammation. Now the clinical features of this condition. First is age. Usually middle age or elderly people are affected. Majority of the patients are above 50 years of age. And sex. Regarding this disease, the men are affected more than women. Now the symptoms of the leukoplakia. The main complaint is that the tongue has become white at places and has developed cracks and fissures over it. Occasionally there may be a lump. Examination. On examination, leukoplakia may be seen in one of the 4 clinical stages. These are stage first, appearance of thin grey transparent film on the affected part of the tongue. This thin milky film may be widespread. Stage second, this thin film turns opaque and white. This is a leukoplakia. In the beginning, it looks soft, but later on cracks and fissures appear. Now stage 3, hyperplasia causes small nodules and warty overgrowth. This formation also appears simultaneously, which leaves area of the smooth red and shiny tongue. Stage 4, this is the stage of the appearance of clinically detectable carcinoma. This lesion possesses all the characteristic features of primary carcinoma. The carcinomatous change usually occurs within the fissures. It should be suspected if there is a local thickening, bleeding on or pain. Now the treatment of this leukoplakia is, being a pre-malignant condition, it should be biopsied as soon as such condition is detected. Small patches of leukoplakia should be removed. When a small area of the leukoplakia is detected and confirmed by biopsy, one should wait and watch. The patient must be examined every month to note the progress of the disease. Appearance of the warty excrescences or small lump should arouse suspicion, and these portions should be excised and examined histologically. Role of the radiotherapy is very intricate. It does improve the condition initially, but it increases the chance of the malignancy. Moreover, to add more problem, such malignant lesions become resistant to further radiotherapy. Now, the next point of this lecture is the ulcers of the tongue. The various types of the ulcers are as follows: the aphthous ulcer, traumatic or dental ulcer, chronic non-specific ulcer, post-pertussis ulcer, syphilitic ulcer, tuberculous ulcer, carcinomatous ulcer, herpetic ulcer, ulcers due to glossitis. These are the various types of the ulcers on the tongue. Dear students, here is a good picture showing the aphthous dyspeptic ulcer is clearly seen. First, aphthous dyspeptic ulcer is a small painful ulcer seen on the tip, under surface and sides of the tongue in its anterior part. The ulcer is small, superficial and white floor, yellowish border and surrounded by a hyperemic zone. This condition is quite painful and usually starts in early adult life. Next is the dental ulcer. It is caused by the mechanical irritation either by a jagged tooth or a denture. These ulcers occur at the periphery or on the undersurface of the tongue at the side. Now next is the syphilitic ulcer. Mainly, snail track ulcers are seen in various parts of the mouth in second stage of syphilis. These ulcers are particularly rare in the tongue. The syphilitic conditions which are more often seen in the tongue are the gumma and chronic superficial glossitis. Next is the tuberculous ulcer. Young adults are usually involved. Such ulcers are shallow, often multiple and grayish yellow with slightly red undermining margin. These ulcers are seen at the margins, tip or dorsum. This ulcer, when occurs in the anterior two-thirds of the tongue, becomes very painful. Next is the post-pertussis ulcer. Occurs only in children with whooping cough. It is usually seen at the upper part of the frenum linguae and in the undersurface of the tip. Chronic non-specific ulcer usually occurs in the anterior two-thirds of the tongue. No etiological factors can be found out. It is moderately indurated and not very painful. Next is the herpetic ulcer. Such ulcer is common in children and young adults. This occurs due to the herpetic infection of the lingual nerve. Acute neuralgic pain is often associated with on side. Gradually vesicles appears with later on burst to form multiple superficial ulcers which are extremely painful. Ulcers due to glossitis. Such ulcer occurs in chronic superficial glossitis. In this case, the etiology is mainly smoking and hence this ulcer is called smoker's ulcer. The ulcers are usually superficial and multiple with the hyperemic patient usually complains of pain during taking food. Now the next point of this lecture is the neoplasms of the tongue. First we start with the benign neoplasm. Benign neoplasms are rare in the tongue and these are the papilloma, hemangioma, lipoma, lymphangioma, neurofibroma, lingual thyroid, salivary gland tumor and osteoma. First, papilloma. It is the most common benign tumor of the tongue. It can be sessile or pedunculated. The main complaint is the presence of the wart for quite a long time. It is painless. It is not associated with lymph node enlargement. Differential diagnosis of this papilloma is the most important is the Hutchinson warts as we see in the syphilis. Treatment is it should be excised along with a wedge of normal tissue at the base. The excised tumor should be sent for histopathologically report. Hemangioma. Almost always hemangioma of the tongue is of cavernous variety, that is the venous type. The main complaint is the purplish swelling of the tongue which often bleeds due to trauma. Treatment is excision of the tumor. Lipoma. In tongue, lipoma is usually small and the patient seeks advice due to the presence of an abnormal swelling. Treatment is excision. Osteoma is a clinical curiosity. Sometimes a hard swelling may be seen in the posterior third of the tongue just beneath of the foramen cecum. Such osteoma seems to have arisen from remnant of the branchial arc. Treatment is excision of the growth. Now the next point of this lecture is the carcinoma of the tongue. Carcinoma of the tongue is a common lesion. It accounts for more than half of the all intraoral carcinomas. Predisposing factors of the carcinoma of the tongue are pie smoking, syphilis, chronic superficial glossitis, alcohol, chronic irritation from sharp tooth, oral sepsis and spices may play roles in the initiating of the carcinoma of the tongue. Betel nut, all these are the predisposing factors of the carcinoma of the tongue. Dear students, here is a good image on your screen. You are watching the carcinoma of the tongue. Now the pathology. Carcinoma of the tongue occurs mostly on the anterior two-thirds and or near the edges, and 50% of carcinomas are seen in the region. 20% is seen in the posterior third of the tongue, in the dorsum and in the tip 10% each. In this latter region, it usually arises in the gummatous ulcer. 10% can occur on the undersurface of the tongue. Macroscopically, 4 types can be seen in the carcinoma of the tongue, and these are an ulcer, a warty growth, an indurated plaque or mass, and a fissure. First is the ulcerative variety. This type is by far the commonest. Sometimes no lesion can be seen, but an indurated can be felt. The warty form is usually superimposed or leukoplakia. This type is almost always seen near the edge of the tongue, and the microscopic features depends mostly on the part of the tongue affected. Which part of the tongue is affected? In the anterior two-thirds, the epidermoid carcinomas with cell nest formation is mostly seen, and in the posterior third of the tongue, it may be basal cell type or transitional type or lymphoepithelium. In the posterior third of the tongue, there is a little or no cornification. Now the spread of the carcinoma through the local spread, lymphatic spread and blood spread. Local spread as carcinoma in other parts of the body. Local spread occurs by infiltration and invasion. Carcinoma of the anterior two-thirds of the tongue usually starts on the bilateral margin of the tongue. Carcinoma of the posterior third of the tongue tends to spread to the corresponding tonsil, epiglottis and soft palate. And second is the lymphatic spread. Like other carcinomas in the body, lymphatic spread is quite early. Regional lymph nodes are affected by embolic spread, not by the permeation, so that the intervening tissue is not involved. And third is the blood spread. It is very rare and extremely late in occurrence. It is only seen when the growth is in the extreme posterior part of the tongue. Now the clinical features. Age. The patient are usually over 50 years of age. The peak incidence is seen in the 6th decade of the age. Now the sex. True, previously males were affected more when syphilis was not uncommon, yet now the incidence is almost equal in both sexes, with probably slight predominance towards the males. Now the symptoms of this condition, carcinoma of the tongue. The commonest complaint is a painless lump or an ulcer on the surface of the tongue. Many patients ignore the condition at this stage unless some more symptoms develop within a span of a few months. Second is the excessive salivation gradually appears along with the growth. An old patient sitting in the outpatient department repeatedly spitting into his handkerchiefs is a good indication of carcinoma of the tongue. And third is the fetor oris is another symptoms which is often accompanied with carcinoma of the tongue. Of offensive smell in the mouth occurs due to the bacterial stomatitis as the patient is unable to swallow saliva. And next symptom is the ankyloglossia or immobility of the tongue occurs due to the extensive carcinomatous infiltration of the lingual musculature. It becomes even worse when the floor of the mouth is involved, and ultimately this causes difficulty in speech. And next symptom is the pain. Carcinoma is always painless to start with, but in late cases the patient may complain of pain due to the involvement of the nerves. Pain may be experienced in the tongue or may be referred to the ear. And the next symptom is the hoarseness of voice or dysphagia. Both these symptoms are only complained of when the growth is in the posterior third of the tongue and has involved pharynx and larynx. And next symptom is lump in the neck. Due to the enlargement of the cervical lymph nodes, there is a lump in the neck. Now the examination. First is the site. As has already been mentioned, carcinoma is most common in the anterior 2/3 of the tongue at or near the edges. Growth itself. A carcinomatous ulcer of the tongue looks irregular in shape with typical raised and everted edge, yellowish grey slope on the floor, and thin serous discharge. Induration at the base is the most characteristic finding. It often leads to touch. And the second growth is the papilliferous or warty carcinoma. Looks like a papilloma which is usually paler than the surrounding epithelium. The base is broad and firm and indurated. It may be of any size. Third is the carcinomatous lump. Is often oval in shape with long axis parallel to the long axis of the tongue. Its size varies from 2 to 5 cm in diameter. Its surface is irregular, the edge is indistinct, and the consistency is hard. Most important feature. Carcinoma in the form of the fissure is rare. It looks as a deep linear ulcer with no detectable edge. It is often secondary to chronic superficial glossitis or syphilis. It is important to examine the floor of the mouth, gums, the jaw, tonsils, and fauces. Palpation of the posterior part of the tongue and laryngoscope examination are highly important if one does not want to miss growth in the posterior third of the tongue. Examination of the lymph nodes, particularly the submandibular, submental, and jugulo-digastric group, are important. It is again stressed that enlargement of the draining lymph nodes does not necessarily mean lymphatic metastasis, but this may be caused by the secondary infection of the growth. Now the treatment of the carcinoma of the tongue. Treatment can be divided into two groups: treatment of the primary growth, and second is the treatment of the secondary lymph nodes. First, treatment of the primary growth. Ancillary treatment. A swab from the ulcers is taken for bacteriological reports, culture, and sensitivity test. Suitable antibiotics should be started immediately. Mouth should be cleansed by antiseptic mouthwashes. If there is a presence of carious tooth or gingivitis, these should be treated simultaneously. Investigation must be made to exclude the syphilis. Two modes of the treatment may be used for primary growth: surgery and radiotherapy. First is a surgery. If the growth is less than 1 cm in diameter, the growth is removed along with a wide margin of mucosa of the not less than 1 cm. This excised growth should be sent for histopathological examination. Monthly follow-up should be continued. And second is in case of the larger growth, preliminary treatment should be radiotherapy. Only in those cases where the radiotherapy fails to respond, surgery is indicated. In these cases, if the growth is localized to anterior 2/3 of the tongue, partial glossectomy or subtotal glossectomy should be carried out. And third is when the growth reaches within the 2 cm of the jaw, radiotherapy may not be successful as the causes necrosis of the mandible. In this cases, the hemimandibulectomy may be required along with the excision of the growth. Now the radiotherapy. When the growth is more than 1 cm in diameter in the anterior 2/3 of the tongue, the preliminary treatment is radiotherapy in the form of the interstitial radiotherapy. Radium needles, radon sheets or radioactive tantalum wires or 192 iridium wires are placed in the growth in one place with a distance of 1 cm. When the growth is deeper and extends more than 1 cm into the tongue, it is difficult to treat these growths with interstitial radiotherapy and teletherapy should be used. Now the teletherapy, in which the cobalt-60 unit is used. This therapy is particularly useful in the posterior 1/3 of the tongue where the interstitial radiotherapy is also difficult to employ. Now the chemotherapy. Role of the chemotherapy is in the tongue cancer is still in doubt. Regional intra-arterial administration of the cytotoxic drug, that is the amytropine 50 mg per day for 5 days may reduce the size of the growth, but long-term reduce is not encouraging. Now the treatment. Second part of the carcinoma of the tongue is the treatment of the secondary lymph nodes. When the lymph nodes are not enlarged, regular follow-up should be carried out. If the lymph nodes are palpable and they are secondarily involved by the metastases, the treatment is the block dissection. Sometimes block dissection may be performed along with the hemiglossectomy, and this is called the commando operation. When the enlarged lymph nodes are fixed and cannot be excised, deep X-ray therapy may be employed. Role of the radiotherapy is extremely poor so far as the treatment of the secondary is concerned. Now the palliative treatment. In case of the large fixed primary growth, deep X-ray therapy will be tried. When the primary recurs, even after the radiotherapy and surgery, cryosurgery may be tried. In case of the extreme pain due to the advanced growth, blocking of the trigeminal nerve with 5% phenol may be considered. Patient with tongue cancer die from following condition, that is the cancers, cachexia and starvation, inhalation, bronchopneumonia, asphyxia due to the edema, glossitis or cervical lymph nodes pressing on air passage, hemorrhage from the involved cervical lymph nodes ulcerating and eroding in artery. Prognosis, the 5-year survival rate of the cancer tongue is not more than 25% of the total cases. Dear students, here is the end of our surgery lecture number 110, that is the tongue. Thank you.